This is the least favorite part of my job. My patient is asking me to call his son, who he's not spoken to in 10 years, and tell him to come visit him before he dies.
Okay.
Hey people, how you are doing today? It's your girl Destiny here, and welcome to my channel. How you are doing? Hope you guys are doing great. So this video is a very interesting video, and I'm so here for it. So this video is a video of a nurse. I don't know what they call it, the hospice nurse. And I think these are the nurse that takes care of the elderly and all that. So this nurse came online to share a story of how one of our patients was dying, and the patient asked her to contact his son that has got no contact with him, and the son said he wants nothing to do with her patient and all that. And she was talking about how the no contact kids still don't want contact with their parents even though they know that their parents is dying, and how a patient eventually responded to her getting back to him. I find this conversation very interesting because we have this type of conversation a lot, talking about, oh, have kids so that they can be there for you in your old age, so that they can take care of you. And we've also established that that is not guarantee at all for your child to take care of you. And there are some of us that are in no contact with our parents, or probably one of our parents. And I find this conversation very interesting because a lot of people capitalize on that for the reason why they want to have children. And I'm not saying that have kids or not have kids, but I find this conversation or this story she shared very interesting. So we're going to check out this video, her sharing the story, how she was able to get in touch with the son's response, and then her going back to her patient, letting her patient know her son's response to them dying and all that. So with that all said, guys, let's go check out the video and then we'll come back and talk more.
This is the least favorite part of my job. My patient is asking me to call his son, who he's not spoken to in 10 years, and tell him to come visit him before he dies. Okay. So he said no, he's not going to come. I said that I respect that decision. Asked if he wants me to notify him whenever his dad does die, and he said yes. I have to go in here now and tell the patient that. Okay, I told my patient. Didn't go well. I told him that his son said that he doesn't want to come. The patient asked if I told him that he was dying. I said I did. He said, you should have told him that he had to come. I said, I'm not going to do that. I offered, if my patient wants to write his son a letter, that I will get it to him, but I said I can't tell you that he'll open it. My patient told me to get out. I love this patient so much, but it's just not my place to guilt trip someone into coming. I have no idea what this person was like the first 80 years of their life before I met them. As much as it sucks to get yelled at in that way, hopefully I did the right thing.
That video has gotten people's response to it, and I'm so here to hear what they have to say about this. But let me know what you think about the video down in the comment section. What are your thoughts? Go down in the comment section and share it. I'd love to know what you think. I have so much to say about this, but before we go on to hear other people's thoughts on this, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, now is the perfect time for you to hit the subscribe button, okay, and click the notification bell so you'll be notified once I upload video, because I post daily videos. We have 2 videos every day, and you don't want to miss out on the conversation we have here on this channel. So let's go check out people's thoughts on this, and then we'll come back and talk more.
That he had to come. I said I'm not going to do that.
Some of these men are going to end up at the end of their lives begging and pleading for a stranger to get their child to care that they're getting ready to be out of here. And it's sad. And sometimes it's because all of the labor of raising that child and establishing a relationship with that child all fell on the mother. How many interviews have we seen with fathers having to know just the slightest bit of information about their child? They don't know the eye color or the middle name or the birthday or the elementary school the child goes to. They know nothing about their own children. All of the labor goes on the mother. You don't want to end up at the end of your life begging and pleading for a hospice nurse to guilt trip and manipulate your child into caring because you never did the work, because you expected the labor to be on somebody else and their responsibility. For all of the men who are so quick to say that a woman is going to die alone, oftentimes this is a man's reality, not a woman's.
My patient is asking me to call his son, who he's not spoken to in 10 years, and tell him to come.
This is an amazing conversation piece, especially for no contact children. Go back and watch the entire stitch, right? This lady, she's a hospice nurse, right? And the hospice patient, who's the 80-year-old father of this son, asked the nurse, would she contact the son and ask him to come see him because he's in his last days and he's about to die and all these other things. The son kindly responded and he said, no, I don't want to see him. She said, well, would you like for me to contact you when he dies? He did agree to that, right? But when she went back in and told the 80-year-old client, who she thought was the sweetest, he yelled at her. In fact, he wanted her, the hospice nurse, to guilt trip that child, which is probably what that parent did. And that parent also did a lot of gaslighting, saying things like, all I've done for this child, this, that, and the third. You know the script, right? But I say all that to say is, if you're a no contact child, like myself, yes, I am a no contact child. You can't expect for us to show up for you, especially if there was never an apology and change behavior. Now, most of the time in the Black community, because people are so enslaved by religion and Christianity, they feel like, oh, you forgive and forget. That's your mama. She brought you in the world. That's your daddy. That's your sister. That's your brother. No. You over. And it's because of you. I have a lot of problems in relationships, communication, triggers, dealing with my own anger and depression. You are the root cause of a lot of that. So for you parents that have not even gotten your shit together in 80 years to fix what you've broken with your children, save the phone call and the sob story, because we do not want to hear it. And we will not be celebrating your death. Okay? You've caused enough pain. So to this nurse, I want you to know you did the right thing. Parents that have gaslit their children, that have not been emotionally available, and they've had discussions about you overstepping your boundaries and making them feel uncomfortable, consider that this may be your reality in the future. You did that. So I'm going to encourage you to go fix that and get that right. All right?
100%.
Have a great night.
This is the least favorite part of my job. A patient is asking me to call his son, who he's not spoken to in 10 years, and tell him to come visit him before he dies.
That was my friend Nurse Hadley, and this comment was left for me on her video. Hadley is a hospice nurse, and she said she was asked by a patient to call a no-contact family member to see if they were willing to visit her patient. They weren't, and apparently when she told the patient that, they got very angry and even kicked Hadley out of the house. There were millions of views on that video and tens of thousands of comments, including this one, which I will get to. But some of the other comments I saw, I felt were problematic. And as a really experienced hospice nurse, I wanted to address them. Some people had said that they felt that the no contact family member should be told that they need to visit the patient because they're dying. Death does not absolve you of the bad things that you've done in your life, and nobody should ever feel obligated to visit a person just because they're dying. And no hospice team member will ever judge somebody for making that decision. Hospice is only in a person's life for a minute. When you look at the whole scheme of things, we are only there for a very small window of time. It is not our job to try to go in and to fix broken relationships. We just are not going to try to do that. Those dynamics were there long before we ever came into the picture. I also saw comments from people who said they were hospice nurses who, like Hadley, said that they felt that they needed to call the no contact family member. I even saw one from somebody who said she wanted to be a hospice nurse, but she was concerned that she would be put into that position of calling somebody like that. The hospice nurse should never ever feel that they are responsible for that conversation. In fact, hospice care is provided by a team that includes the nurse, an aide, social worker, chaplain, doctor, the patient, their family. It's really a team that is taking care of the dying person. Although the RN is the case manager and the leader of the team, they are not required to do things that are really considered out of their scope. One of those things would be having a very difficult conversation with a no contact family member and then having to relay that information to the patient. To address this comment right here, yes, it is a very difficult conversation for both the no contact person and the hospice patient. As nurses, we do get some training for grief counseling, but it's minimal. And really, it's going to be the social worker or the chaplain that should be having those conversations. It's not in the hospice nurse's skill set to provide counseling or therapy, which could be required in a situation like this. So by not having a social worker or a chaplain available to speak with both of those parties, it's really doing them a disservice. It takes a village to care for a dying person. And when you're on hospice, you have one. It's your hospice care team. And each person has a role that they should be doing.
This is the least favorite part of my job. A patient is asking me to call his son, who he's not spoken to.
I know you don't know me. I first off want to say I very much appreciate your job. I appreciate the work that you do for the families and everything else that you do. As someone who has been in the son's situation, I very much appreciate the way that you handled this. So I completely cut ties with my dad in 2014 because after being verbally, mentally, emotionally, and sometimes physically this man, he said something to me that made me realize as a parent myself, I could never say something like that to my kid. So I completely cut ties with him. Did not speak to him again. And my dad passed away in 2019. In 2017, I received a phone call from a random number while I was at work. And I listened to the voicemail and they said, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm a power of attorney for your father. Will you please do me a favor and give me a call?" I turned around and I called because that's the only information that he left me. And he said that my father had been put into a nursing home and he wanted to speak with me. And I asked him if he wanted to speak to me or did my father want to speak to me. And the man said both. And I said, "I am more than willing to speak with you, but I have nothing that I would like to say to my father. I have decided that I am completely done with that situation." And the power of attorney, the power of attorney told me that I was selfish, that I was narcissistic, and that the famous line of, "But he's your dad. You should love him even if you don't like him." So me standing in the middle of an Ulta while all of this is going on, because I called him back whenever I got off of work, I said, first off, the one thing that you need to realize is that the person that you're speaking to is not the father that I had, and I'm not going to allow him to have any access to my life whatsoever. I cut him out for a reason. That is that. You are more than welcome to have your opinion of me, but I quite frankly do not care. I said, have you ever thought that the reason that he got a state-appointed power of attorney is because none of his family wants anything to do with him and no one wants to deal with him? So then he got smart with me and he was like, "Do you have a sibling that I can speak to?" And I was like, "You're more than welcome to speak to either one of my siblings." And I was just like, "But what you need to understand is that I was just like, this is the last time you will ever speak with me." So fast forward to November of 2019. My mother, who lives with me, had come into the living room and said, "Hey, I just got a phone call from your brother. I think your dad passed away." And I thought, okay, why would they call my brother first, kind of thing. Well, my brother and my dad have the same last name. Me and my sister are both married, so we do not carry the same last name anymore. And I reached out to said power of attorney because previously in the conversation that I had with him in 2017, he asked me, if things start to go downhill or whatever with your father, would you like to be informed? And I said, yes, the only time I would like to hear from you is if my father has passed away. That was that. So I contacted him and I said, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. My father is so-and-so. My brother has been informed that my father possibly has passed away, and I just wanted to get said information from you." He did not call me. He texted me and he said, yeah, your dad died on this day. Please do not contact me again. So the reason that I'm giving you all of this information is because I just wanted to say that I very much appreciate the way that you respected the child in this situation, even though you're the hospice nurse for the patient, and that you put your foot down and whatnot. So thank you for, if you stayed for this entire thing. Thanks, I appreciate it.
I want to know what you think about this conversation down in the comment section. Please keep it respectful as always. You're on the channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we'll do it in a respectful way. So go ahead, feel free and share your thoughts. Do you think the nurse should have pushed harder for the no contact son to contact his father? Do you think that what she did was right? What are your thoughts? And are you an hoster nurse? Have you ever been in this position before? Please go ahead and share your thoughts down in the comment section. Love to know your own take and join in this conversation. So I personally, if you'll be watching me, you know I'm in no contact with my dad since for almost 4 years now, since 2020. Have not had anything to do with him and all that. And I find this conversation very interesting because most of the time what people bring to the front is that, make peace with him, talk to him, sort out whatever issues you have with him. Because anything, they can call you tomorrow and say he's dead. What do you like? You feel bad and regret not making peace with him. But what some people don't understand, and it's usually, for me, I feel like they usually try to guilt trip children that have gone no contact with their parents with the death, and feeling like, with death they make peace and every other thing they've done in your life wrong. I've tried a couple of things what my father did, but my father is a typical case of I'm not diagnosing him. I don't like calling people narcissists, but if that's the characteristics, my dad has the traits of it. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going, has the traits of it. And it was in my own best interest that I cut him off, and I didn't want anything to do with him. And the truth is that if somebody called me today, which I have mourned him, I've let go of him, like I'm at peace with the relationship because I'm at peace with myself. I found closure for myself of, okay, this is who he is, this is what he is. It doesn't care about anybody but himself, and it is what it is. I'm not going to sweat. I'm not going to try to amend the relationship, especially when he's not even trying to amend the relationship. And there's one thing about a lot of, especially the boomers and the quiet generation parents, they don't see the like they cannot bring themselves low for them to say, I'm sorry I hurt you, I'm sorry I did this and all that. When my father did what broke the camel's back, where I went no contact with him, till this date, 4 years later, he has not even had the conversation with my mom or even any of my siblings. He does not even care that I'm in no contact with him. And it's amazing how he doesn't care, but people expect you as a child to care that you're in no contact. And then someone would think that because he's dying or something is happening, then I should start talking to him. That's not going to erase the hurt and all that. And one thing, like I will tell anybody, I'm not saying going no contact with your parents is not an easy task, and that's something people should take into consideration before you go no contact with a parent. Ask yourself why, and if anything happened to that parent, will you feel some type of way? If you will feel some type of way, then I'll say you're not in that place mentally to have no contact with your parent. But also, let's have the conversation of people usually feeling that entitlement feeling because you have a child. That means the child is going to be with you at your dying moment. These are typical cases that because you have a child, that does not mean that they will be there for you. It means that things will have happened, things will have gone right or wrong, and that child may choose or not to be there for you at your old age, because that's what they tell us. You're going to die alone. Those of you that choose not to have kids, you're going to die alone. Those of you that choose not to have a husband, you're going to die alone. But the truth is that when you live this world, you live this world by yourself. And I know it's usually good when you're dying, especially when you know you're dying, to have family around you. But the truth is that you see that act of dying, you're doing it by yourself. So why don't you live the time you have here to the fullest? And those society emotional blackmail they put and fear they put, especially to people, especially women, can we take these are debunked over and over again, Because you have children, that does not mean your children wants to talk to you. That does not mean your children want anything to do with you. And this is why I always preach here on this channel that as a parent, take your time to do the work so you heal yourself, so that before you have children, you don't traumatize children over and over again to a point where a child will go no contact with you. And I've done a couple of videos where we talked about no contact, and there's so many of us that have gone no contact with either both of our parents or one of our parents. And the truth is that some of us are not even looking back, because it even brought more peace, more sanity, more direction in our life than when we were in contact with this parent, with this parent. So for me is that as a parent, if you are a parent or you want to be a parent, do the work, because it's really hard. I know it's not easy being a parent, and I know it's not easy being a child. But before you choose to have a child, if you're a woman, before you choose a man, before you choose to say, okay, I want to bring another human being to this world, ask yourself, are you equipped to bring another human being in this world? Because sometimes some of our parents, they don't even want to admit to some of the hurt, and sometimes they don't even see what they did to us as anything, like, oh, what did I do for you? I provided a roof over your head, I did this for you, I did that for you. But it causes more emotional, mental, physical harm to us that they don't want to admit. And I get their generation, they don't talk about their feelings, they don't talk about how it makes them feel. I get it, but now I'm telling you, this is what you did, this is how it is, and you don't feel any remorse about it. So why should I have any contact with you? I felt like the nurse did what she's supposed to do. She's not supposed to be the one to bend the hand of the child to come, or trip the child to come and see their dying parents. No. If the father cannot, or if the dying parents or cannot mend that relationship with their child before they die, that's on them, and it is what it is. There's a lot of water that has gone over the bridge that sometimes you can't even take it back. You get what I'm saying? So anyway, guys, I really love this type of conversation. Let me know your own take about this conversation down in the comment section, but please keep it respectful. As always, here on this channel, we're allowed to disagree, but do it in a respectful way. So go ahead, feel free and share your thoughts, but like always, keep it respectful. Don't forget to share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversation. So go ahead and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push out my content for more people to see, and that will be you supporting this channel and this guy. So go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to this channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.